pay close attention. Heaven doesn't always knock twice. This window is sacred. The words you're about to receive are not just words, they're a divine interruption, a signal that heaven is leaning in. Chosen one, you haven't stumbled upon this message by chance. No, this moment has been written for you. How many nights have you laid in silence, your heart heavy, your prayers barely whispered? How many times have you felt unseen, unheard, unanswered? But the truth is, God saw it all. Every tear, every sigh, every question you were too tired to ask out loud, none of it was ignored. And this right here is proof. Heaven has sent a response. The voice you hear now is not mine. It's a reflection, a vessel. What's being spoken was spoken first in the heart of the Most High. And he said this, "Tell them, I have not forgotten. I have heard them in the night. I am making all things new." Revelation 21:5. Right now, something is shifting around you. The air is different. The veil is thinner. Your name, yes, your name was just spoken aloud in heaven. It wasn't whispered, it was declared. And when heaven speaks, earth must respond. So I ask you this, before we continue, will you stay, not just with your eyes, but with your spirit? Will you open your heart not to me, but to the one who's been calling it all along? If your answer is yes, if your soul is saying, I'm ready, then show it. Type Amen in the comments below as a sign that you are stepping into what God has already prepared for you. And stay until the end, because today's message will close with a prayer meant to touch what's been hurting and awaken what's been sleeping inside of you. There's a reason this moment found you. Let the light in. Let the miracle begin. There's been a hidden tension in your life, an unseen pressure, as if something's been trying to break out from beneath the surface. That's not just your imagination. That's the weight of a calling that's been growing inside you, a calling that can no longer wait. From the moment your feet touched the floor this morning, something in the unseen began to shift. This message started moving toward you long before your eyes met these words. While you were caught in your routines, coffee, traffic, thoughts that chase each other like shadows, heaven was already speaking your name, not out loud, but in the wind, in the quiet, in the moments where your heart longed for something more. You've been misunderstood, even by those who love you. You've been carrying burdens that no one else could name, fights that didn't show on your face, sleepless nights where the silence felt too loud. That ache in your chest. It's not just sadness, it's spiritual exhaustion. You've been at war, and only heaven saw the full weight of it. And still, you made it here. What tried to keep you stuck, what tried to block you, what tried to silence you, it failed. You didn't even know how many forces worked to keep this moment from reaching you. But heaven knew, and heaven intervened. There's been a battle around your breakthrough. Every time you were about to rise, something pushed you back. Every time light started to shine, the darkness tried to crowd in. But God, in mercy, did not let it win. The chains that tried to stay hidden are breaking now, and what has snapped under heaven's hand cannot be reforged. You may have blamed yourself. You may have looked in the mirror and wondered if your failures disqualified you. But listen closely. Your mistakes are not stronger than God's purpose. He doesn't use your shame to measure your worth. He uses His love. That love has no record of wrongs. It doesn't tally your regrets. It calls you worthy before you ever felt like it. Chosen one, there is a reason you've never quite fit in. That sense of otherness, that quiet difference you carry, it's not brokenness, it's divine marking. The fingerprints of heaven have been on your life since the beginning. From your first breath, your name was written in a place no human hand could touch. There are doors with your name on them. Not just metaphorical doors, real opportunities, real shifts, real beginnings. And no one else can open them but you. And yet, in recent days, the air around you has felt heavier. Maybe you've sensed it, the tension in your own home, the weight you can't explain, the stillness that doesn't feel like peace. There is a spiritual battle happening around you. Not imaginary, not dramatic, real. But the darkness has never had the final word, because while you slept, angels stood watch. While your heart trembled in the night, a flame was lit to keep the shadows away. You lived through storms that tried to erase you. You stayed standing when others fell. And that is not by accident. You were meant to survive. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to rise now. This is not just another message. This is a moment that's been carved into eternity, and the only reason it hurts this much now is because something sacred is waking up inside of you. A voice long silenced is being restored. You feel it. You know it, even if you can't explain it yet. The story of your life is not over, and the ones who hurt you, who tried to define your ending, they will not get to write your final chapter. The one who chose you from the beginning will. So take a breath. Feel the shift. Let these words meet you where your soul has needed them most. Heaven has moved for you. You've come farther than you realize. What you're feeling right now, the trembling beneath the surface, the unexplainable heaviness in the air, the way your heart tightens, even though nothing seems wrong, it's not coincidence. It's the weight of a moment that has been written into your story since before time itself. You are standing at the edge of something vast, something sacred, and when you cross into the next part of your life, everything you thought you understood about your purpose, your struggles, and even your past will shift. There have been whispers for a long time now, subtle nudges, dreams you couldn't explain, conversations that seemed to strike something deep inside you. You thought they were passing moments, but they weren't. They were God's voice, drawing closer. And every time his presence reached near, something in your life tried to pull you away. Interruptions, distractions, emotional storms that came out of nowhere. It wasn't random. The enemy recognized the nearness of your breakthrough long before you did. But this time is different. Heaven has sealed this moment. What was once intercepted has now been protected. Nothing, no one, can steal what has been prepared for you. You're not reading this by chance. Even if you only meant to skim, even if you stumbled here on accident, understand accident has nothing to do with it. This is divine alignment. You've been on the edge of giving up. You've watched others move forward while you stayed stuck. You've felt invisible, even among people who claim to care. But still, here you are breathing, watching, listening, not because you're lucky, but because he never let go. There were storms you never spoke of, battles no one noticed. Your strength wasn't loud, but it was real. You kept waking up, you kept loving, you kept showing up with a heart that was bruised but still open. And through it all, God was closer than you knew. Romans 8:26 reminds us, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. The Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. Every time you wept in silence, heaven heard more than your tears, it heard the language of your soul. Not a single groan was wasted. There's something you need to understand now with your whole being. You didn't waste time waiting. Not 1 year, not 1 hour. All that seemed lost has simply been gathering weight. Like rain building behind a dam, the pressure has been increasing not to crush you, but to pour out in due time. And now the structure is giving way. The miracle is beginning to break through. This time, there is no detour. Still, there's a voice in the shadows that wants you to disqualify yourself, that you're too flawed, that you've missed too many chances, that you've failed too often to still be chosen. But that voice lies. If brokenness could cancel destiny, there would be no redemption story. If imperfection were the measure, there would be no grace. 1 Corinthians 1:27 declares, "But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong." You are not too broken. You are exactly the kind of person heaven loves to restore, someone who knows what it's like to fall, and who will rise differently because of it. Let yourself remember the moments you almost quit, the nights you said, "I can't do this anymore." And yet, a strange strength rose in you. You didn't know where it came from, but something whispered, "Not yet." That wasn't chance. That was the shield over your life still holding firm. That was divine protection. That was the angel assigned to you standing guard while your soul was too tired to speak. That's why the worst didn't win. That's why you survived what broke others. You've been wondering why you've always felt set apart, even when you tried your best to be like everyone else. Why you've carried a different kind of weight, a deeper sense of seeing, a silent ache for something more. It's not failure, it's calling. Before the world ever knew your name, it was spoken in heaven. And the heaviness you felt in your spirit is not weakness, it's evidence that you are being prepared for something that is not ordinary. You've been refined in a furnace few would survive, and you came through. But there's something you need to know urgently. Right now, there are things happening beyond your view. Conversations in rooms you've never entered, words spoken behind closed doors, strategies being laid out in silence, not all of them meant for your good. The enemy is weaving new traps, pressing harder because time is running out. He knows what you carry. He knows what happens if you step fully into it. But what he doesn't know is this: heaven has already gone before you. And heaven is not passive. The sword has been drawn. The battle is turning in your favor. The Spirit of the living God has sent warning and protection in the same breath. You are not being told this just to be comforted. You are being called to rise. There's no room left for delay. Not because you're being punished for waiting, but because you are standing in a window of divine timing. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." And this is your time. Even now, your heart may still be whispering, "Why me?" But the better question is, why not you? Who else has lived your story? Who else carries your perspective, your wounds, your wisdom, your resilience? You were never meant to be invisible. You were meant to be an answer to problems others couldn't solve. The blessing coming to you isn't just for you, it will overflow to those connected to you. There are people whose lives will be changed because you didn't give up, because you heard this message and remembered who you are. Now, you must understand this too. The spiritual pressure in your home, the tension in the atmosphere, the heaviness that wraps around your nights, it's not imagined. There have been battles raging in places you couldn't see. You weren't paranoid. You were discerning. And where others would have broken, you were shielded. Bent, yes, but not destroyed. You've been preserved under the hand of the Almighty, and now that hand is moving in power. The storm is passing. The night is almost over. Light is returning. But you cannot go back to sleep now, not spiritually, not emotionally. This is not the moment to delay. What's about to happen will move quickly. Doors will open, chains will fall, and things you prayed for long ago will begin to appear without warning. And you will need to be ready. Not perfect, not polished, but ready in your heart to say yes. Because, ready or not, heaven is already on the move. There's something heaven needs you to understand, something that may explain what no words could explain before. The weight on your shoulders has never just been random hardship. The delays, the heartbreaks, the tension in your mind, the shaking in your relationships, the sudden disruptions to your peace, they were never meaningless. The enemy has feared you from the beginning, long before you knew your own strength, because even when you didn't see it, they did. They saw the mark of glory written across your life. They sensed the fire in your spirit and the unshakable purpose God placed inside you. And the moment you started drawing near to your identity, the resistance began. Not because you were weak, but because you were about to become unstoppable. You've noticed it, haven't you? Just when things seem to turn around, something breaks down. Just when you're about to find clarity, confusion creeps in. But it's not just circumstance, it's interference, an intentional effort to stop you from discovering who you are. Because once you know, truly know, nothing can hold you back. That's why the attack's intensified. That's why your mind has been tired, your heart has been stretched, and your sense of direction has been questioned. But even now, through it all, you remain. This moment is not just a turning point, it's a rewriting. The pen is already on the page. A new chapter is unfolding over your life, and not someday now, not when you're ready, not when you've healed fully. Now, because heaven doesn't wait for perfection, heaven moves when the assignment reaches its time. You've walked through fire, and yet you were not consumed, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace, Daniel 3. The flames surrounded you, but did not devour you. Why? Because someone else was in the fire with you, and that same presence is still with you now. Your life is about to shift in a way that silences the doubts. The people who once overlooked you will have no choice but to witness your rise, not because of revenge, but because of vindication. What heaven opens, no hand can shut, and what God restores, he does so with interest. Joel 2:25 says, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. You will not just recover, you will overflow. Every moment you thought was wasted has been a building block. The betrayals, they weren't just heartbreak, they were a severing, a divine rescue, dressed in disappointment. The silence you feared wasn't abandonment, it was God clearing the noise so you could finally hear him. Even the nights when you lay awake, wondering if anyone saw the pain behind your eyes, he saw, he still does, and not one tear was in vain. He's been weaving everything together, even what felt like chaos. Romans 8:28 tells us, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. That includes your rejection, your isolation, your questions, even your failures. And here's what you weren't told. Every scar you carry is sacred, not a sign of weakness, but of survival. A sign that you didn't quit, a sign that you were refined, not ruined. You are now the vessel that can hold what's coming, not just the blessing, but the weight of it. You've been tested for the size of the promise, and now you're ready. But listen carefully. The time you've entered is different. What once took years will happen in moments. What once felt impossible will appear without warning. You've entered into divine acceleration, and that's why the enemy has been louder, because his grip is slipping. Do not think the heaviness means God is far. It's quite the opposite. The war has only been so loud because the calling is real. The attack is the evidence of your anointing. If you carried nothing worth stealing, there would be no reason to fight you. But your name carries weight in the spirit. The enemy never underestimated you, only you did. But even that's about to change. Your tears, those quiet, desperate cries no one else heard, have not been wasted. Heaven collected them. Psalm 126:5 says, Those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. You will harvest in joy what you planted in pain. The ground where you bled will become the place where you dance, and the loneliness you endured will be replaced by connections you didn't know you needed, people sent from God with keys you couldn't forge on your own. Some faces will fade now, not because you're doing something wrong, but because they've reached the end of their assignment in your life. And when they go, don't chase them. Some exits are heaven's intervention, a pruning not to punish you, but to make room. John 15:2 says, Every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. And new people will appear unexpected, timely, appointed. They won't need explanations. They will understand the language of your spirit. What you lost in one season will be restored through their presence. Some will unlock doors. Some will remind you who you are. Some will simply love you well. Even those who mocked your faith will be silenced not by argument, but by evidence. by watching your life transform in ways no human hand could orchestrate. They won't be able to deny the touch of the divine. And they won't be able to explain it either. Beloved, you have entered the days where heaven responds openly, not in shadows, not in delay. The old things that used to break you will no longer even shake you. Your story will shift from survival to testimony, from waiting to walking, from hoping to holding. Not because of who you are without God, but because of who you've become with Him. The light in you is no longer hidden. The season of pressing is turning into the season of pouring. Everything is about to change. And now, dearest soul, as heaven draws us deeper into this sacred unveiling, there is something even more important. You must hear something hidden beneath the surface of your journey that's only now being brought into the light. There have been whispers about you, yes, about you in places you've never walked. Conversations spoken in rooms you never entered, your name uttered by lips you've never met. Some of those words were meant to harm you. Some were coated with envy, others with misunderstanding. But what the world intended as damage, heaven is now using as design. What was spoken in slander will become a stepping stone. What was meant to close doors will now cause them to burst open. Every lie, every shadow, every attempt to diminish you has been gathered and refashioned into the very platform from which your purpose will rise. This is how the Most High works. The plans of your enemies don't get thrown away, they get rewritten. As Joseph once said to the brothers who betrayed him, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 50-20. That wasn't just history, it's prophecy, echoing in your life now. So don't lose sleep over what was said behind your back. Don't waste breath defending yourself to those who were never meant to understand you. Heaven hears it all. And heaven always has the last word. You are entering a season of divine reversal, sudden shifts, surprising doors, sacred unveiling. Where you were weakest, you will now shine the brightest. The very area of your life that once held shame will become the place from which others find healing. The battle that nearly broke you will be the very testimony that breathes life into someone else. This is redemption, not the erasing of your past, but the transformation of it. It's written in Isaiah 61:3 that the Lord gives a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. That's not poetry. That's promise. That's your inheritance. And yes, when it happens, when things begin to turn, it will be loud. The sound of favor returning will be undeniable. Even those who once dismissed you will watch in awe, not because you need their approval, but because heaven's work cannot be ignored. But listen carefully. Don't return to what God already released you from. Do not pick up the chains He broke on your behalf. Don't knock again on doors He's already closed. You cannot carry resurrection while still holding the weight of what was meant to die. That ache in your chest right now, that tightening in your spirit is not anxiety, it's alignment. It's your spirit recognizing that truth is brushing up against your soul. You know there are things you must finally let go, and though it hurts, your hands must be emptied in order to receive what's next. Don't pretend you're not hearing it. Don't numb yourself now. The moment is too holy. You're not here to be entertained. You're here to be awakened. And this message, no matter how it found you, is not an accident. It is a call, a whisper from the courts of heaven echoing through your timeline, reaching into the parts of you that even you forgot were alive. Keep your spirit awake. The shift has already begun. There are blessings, real, tangible, heaven-ordained gifts that have your name written on them, not metaphorically, literally. They've been held in waiting, not because you were unworthy, but because they were too sacred to arrive early. The gates are opening now. That restlessness you feel isn't fatigue, it's spiritual movement. Your soul knows what your eyes cannot yet see. The atmosphere is parting, the delay is breaking, and yet you still wonder, if something good is coming, Why did it hurt so long? Because sacred things require shaping. Because precious things must be tested. Because the version of you that can carry this blessing had to be formed in fire, like diamonds under pressure, like pearls born from irritation, like oil pressed out of olives. God did not withhold from you, He was preparing you. He didn't punish you with waiting, He refined your capacity. You were not just meant to receive good things, you were meant to carry them well, to multiply them, to protect them from the decay of pride or the erosion of fear. And now, you're not only ready to receive, you're ready to steward, ready to build, ready to bless others from the overflow of your own restoration. But be careful, what you're releasing has value. Bitterness may come knocking again, dressed as a shield, but it will only harden the heart meant to stay open. Doubt will disguise itself as wisdom. Don't fall for it. Even the enemy knows your power, and that's why distraction often comes disguised as logic. Stay soft, stay watching, stay believing, because what's coming is far greater than what you imagined when you first asked for help. It's not just compensation, it's divine expansion. You're not being returned to what you lost. You're being carried forward into what couldn't even fit your past. Heaven has waited long enough. Now, so have you. And the season that begins now, this very hour, is not just change, it is fulfillment. It is glory. It is the turning point. Before the next step unfolds, before the instruction for your daily walk is revealed, let us pause here for something far more intimate, because the greatest transformations don't begin on the outside. They begin in hidden places, deep within the heart, where only God sees clearly. Heaven is not merely shifting circumstances to make your life easier. Heaven is preparing you to carry something greater, and that preparation takes place in silence, beneath the noise, beneath the surface, where the soil of your spirit has been quietly breaking open to receive something eternal. This is not just a change of scenery, it is a change of identity. Not in the way people often mean trying to become something new, but in the way heaven means, returning you to the person you always were in the eyes of the one who made you. There is a version of you, beloved, that was never touched by shame, never warped by rejection, never silenced by fear. That version is not a dream, it's a destiny. And it is beginning to rise. You won't always recognize the moment it happens. It won't come with fireworks or applause. It will come in the stillness, in the way you no longer respond to old voices the same way, in the quiet strength that holds you steady where you used to crumble, in the peace that begins to take root, even before the circumstances change. These are not coincidences. These are signs of resurrection, the internal kind, the kind that makes you whole before it makes you seen. There is a new lens being placed over your eyes, a lens not clouded by longing or insecurity, but by clarity. You will begin to discern not only what is good, but what is truly of God. People will seem different, not because they changed, but because you are no longer seeing them through the ache of needing to be accepted. Your spirit is no longer trying to fit in places it has outgrown. And this quiet separation, though it may ache for a moment, is not punishment, it is pruning. It is heaven making space. Do not mourn what fades in this season. God is not emptying your life to leave you barren. He is clearing ground for divine alignment. He is protecting the space your future will need to breathe. And yes, there will be divine appointments, conversations that seem random but shift your understanding, encounters that remind you who you are, doors that open not because you knocked, but because heaven whispered your name on the other side. When these things happen, don't doubt them. Receive them. They are not strange. They are your inheritance coming into view. But as these shifts come, so might old emotions, memories, fears, insecurities you thought you buried. Do not be alarmed. Do not run from them. The wound is not reopening. It is being healed properly this time. The Lord is not exposing your weakness to shame you. He is surfacing the remnants of pain so that it no longer defines your decisions. This is not regression, it is refinement. You are being made whole not just to receive what is coming, but to hold it well, to sustain joy, to protect peace, to love deeply without fear of loss, to lead not from insecurity, but from integrity. And hear this with clarity: your voice is being restored. There was a time when silence felt safer than expression, when you hesitated to speak truth because it was misunderstood, when you watered down your